If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Hi, I'm Scott Miller, Business Development Officer at Midwest Bank's Lincoln branches. As a lifelong Lincolnite with over 30 years of experience in financial management, I'm here to help your business grow and succeed. My focus is building strong relationships with businesses and clients across Lincoln. Because at Midwest Bank, we believe banking is about people, not just numbers. Visit us at midwest.bank or stop by one of our Lincoln locations. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
If you have a fence, patio, or landscaping project to complete this spring, Sunbelt Rentals is here to help with augers and auger drives in various sizes, plus electric concrete mixers. For tree trimming projects, they have a great selection of chainsaws, pole saws, and hedge trimmers, along with a towable lift or ladder to get you where you need to be. Sunbelt Rentals has everything you need to make your spring projects easy. Sunbelt Rentals, online at sunbeltrentals.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
93.7 The Ticket Sports News Go now.
This is Nick Whyman with your sports update. Number 7 ranked Nebraska basketball suffered an 80-77 loss in overtime to number 13 Purdue Tuesday night at Pinnacle Bank Arena. After trailing by as many as 22 points, the Cornhuskers rallied to overcome that deficit to force overtime. However, the Boilermakers escaped with a conference victory from Lincoln. Nebraska's offense was fueled by Rink Mass with 18 points. Nebraska fell to 21-3 on the season and plays next this Saturday against Northwestern, with tip-off set for noon Central Time and can be seen on the Big Ten Network. Nebraska softball is back in action on Thursday in Clearwater, Florida at the Shriners Children's Invitational. Huskers battle number 12 LSU to open tournament play on Thursday, February 12th, with first pitch scheduled for 9 a.m. Central Time. Game between Nebraska and LSU can be seen on ESPN2. Later that day, the Cornhuskers face number 20 Georgia, with that game scheduled to take place at 3 p.m. Central Time on ESPN+. Nebraska Athletics announced Wednesday that the Nebraska spring game will be played on Saturday, March 28th, with kickoff set for 11 a.m. The Interspod scrimmage at Memorial Stadium will cap off spring practice for head coach Matt Rill's 4th Husker team. Nebraska begins spring practice with the first of 15 workouts on Saturday, February 21st. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here at 92.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
It's been a busy day in sports. A lot has happened while you were up to your eyeballs in work. Catch up on what went down in Nebraska athletics, college sports, and your favorite pro sports leagues. This is Late Night in Lincoln live on 93.7 The Ticket. Sponsored by Canopy Street Market. Here is your host, Nick Whyman.
Welcome in. Late Night in Lincoln. We're here. I say we because it's me alongside Harrison Arns. Harrison's sticking out for another segment. Couldn't leave.
I just love it.
He likes to fill in here for that one segment. He can't escape the studio. Cannot escape.
Studio's been good to me. No, I can't escape it.
No.
18 hours a day, Nick. We love it. We're
18
keeping it all local content coverage. You guys are welcome to join in 402-464-5685. But yeah, it's not like there's not plenty of things to talk about.
There's plenty. I mean, if you've listened all day from 6 o'clock in the morning till you're sticking rocking with us till midnight. And also if you want to chime in, you're part of the conversation. Harrison and me are here in person. You see us on the stream if you're watching on Facebook, X, YouTube, Allo Channel 961. You're part of the conversation too. 402-464-5685, Sergeant Heyman Julius text line. There's a lot to talk about. We have over 24 hours since Nebraska basketball's game against Purdue. I think this is a good time to reflect on what happened in Pinnacle Bank Arena and just to get it out there and let that off the chest for fans in general and move on to the next chapter, because there are multiple chapters in the season that have been written, a lot of them very historic. You only have 3 losses against 3 top 15 teams.
Yeah, the goal was 20 at the beginning of the year.
That's the magic number.
Mm-hmm.
But now you move on to the next chapter and write the next chapter of the 2025-2026 Nebraska basketball season. So I guess final thoughts on last night, Harrison. You've had over 24 hours technically now to collect your thoughts, get your heart to not sink into your chest, bring it back to reality. Just overall, just after the reflection and get back to how that game ended, what are you feeling right now here at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday night?
Still pretty optimistic. I think we said a little bit. Nothing about that game drastically shifted my viewpoint. The one thing that's solidified more is we got to figure out ways to compete against the teams that are bigger. You look at the 3 losses. Yes, there's caveats on all of them. Michigan, again, without 2 of your top leading scorers, you can understand why that's impressive despite the loss. But again, the physicality, that was the difference maker. The Illinois game, the physicality and the size, that was the difference maker. For Purdue, certainly in the first half, it was the physicality and the size that was the difference maker. And, you give up that many offensive rebounds. I can't remember, one of them had 10 offensive rebounds alone by himself, maybe even more than that. It's going to be tough to win ball games, even if you're a really good team, even if you're playing good basketball and your defense is getting after it. Those are things that are going to be a problem they have to fix. But at the same time, they were pretty close in 2 of those games, non-count, with Illinois being the odd duck out there. It's still a very good basketball team that's got some weaknesses. It's got a few chinks in the armor now, but it's still in plenty of good shape to make a good run come March Madness. And when you look at the Big Ten standings, kind of helped when you saw some of the chaos after the Nebraska-Purdue game. They're tied for second in the Big Ten standings still. So it's not like this team dramatically lost all its momentum. They're still in a good spot. The other part is, you sent it to me. There's an investigation on the way.
Yes. Spillgate has been, I guess.
That was a better name for it than I realized.
Spillgate?
Because there was some conspiracy behind it, because everyone was saying it was Purdue, and apparently it was one of us.
Like I said last night, I'm not hitting the big red button. You lose to 3 quality teams on the year of 24 games. You said the magic number was 20 for a lot of people's expectations coming into the season. Already overachieved that in early February. Still a month to go on the season. You mentioned the offensive rebound. So Oscar Clough is the guy you mentioned, the South Dakota State transfer. He had 14 rebounds. 10 of them were offensive. He wasn't even the leading rebounder on the team.
19
was Trey Kaufman-Renn with 19 and only had 3 offensive. So
they just took. I'll take this half of the court. You take the other. That's incredible numbers.
You got to get
10 offensive boards.
10 of the 14.
And I didn't even see a bunch of possessions where Sorry, Angel Reese, but it was like, get the rebound, put it back up,
Miss
get the rebound. Yeah,
yes.
exactly. It was, getting one here, there. Man, that's insane.
And that is just crazy to think about. It took them, they just were able to do it, and they got 54 rebounds, and they took over almost 80 shots in a college basketball game. But the university had to put out a statement regarding Spillgate. I guess that is what it's labeled. It's not really labeled, but there was a object thrown during the game. Don't do that. Don't do that. In any sport, not just basketball, football, you name it. Just be a fan, tip your cap, move on. Yeah, Purdue, like Fred Hoiberg said, they lost the game in the first 3 minutes, not in the final 4 seconds. And it was it anticlimactic? Yes, but still got to be classy. That's how it is. Nebraska nice, isn't that the saying? Nebraska nice.
It's supposed to be.
Nebraska nice. Let's live by that motto.
Well, can you imagine being the guy who, if he does end up getting caught, or a girl, we don't know who's the committed the crime quite yet, but like if you get banned,
yeah, that's
right. If Nebraska basketball is finally winning,
that'd be it.
And
that's I don't know if that falls under the arena, because then it's like concerts and whatnot else that goes on. 8985 says most of the said basically there were at least 2 of those 10 offensive rebounds, the ones that Clough had, that should have been over the back fouls, essentially. I mean, this guy's a giant. This guy, Purdue is famous for having tall, notable guys. Isaac Haas, Matt Harms with the hair.
This is one of the shorter ones.
Caleb Schwanigan was a bigger guy. He could shoot too. He was another one of those guys in the paint. Purdue always has guys like that, and that's just how they always do. I know I always see the jokes on social media where there's a giant guy who recruits to Purdue, and it's like, well, better keep an eye on him because Matt Painter's going to get something out of him. So, I mean,
I agree. Right. There's 2 of them. I know there's one on Rink Mass, where Rink Mass neck got there's a hook and hold on Rink Mass neck, and somehow Rink Mass got the foul. But that's 2. I could think of 2, a few more maybe. I mean, when you're getting 10 offensive boards, yeah, some of it maybe you're being a little physical and they didn't see it and they should have called the whistle. But you're also just a menace that they can't stop you.
But most of that game they let him play. They let him play free throws. Neither team was making their free throws. We go back to that.
Ugh.
Neither team was taking those advantages, especially Purdue down the stretch. Nebraska had a chance to take the lead after a 22-point deficit, which is unheard of. I mean, we saw 16 against Indiana, and we thought that was impressive. 22 was against a Purdue team who's ranked in the top 15 is even crazier. I would say this, there are no moral victories in sport. I don't know. It's a cliche. Moral victories, you don't want to talk about it because you want to win. But if there's a moral victory, I think that is a moral victory because you're getting blown out on your home court against a Purdue team who looked faster, stronger in every facet of the game through 20 minutes. And then Nebraska, it was a game of runs, and they were able to weather the storm, not give in, because there's so many teams there who would go, oh man, we're down 46-24. Let's pack it up and move on to the next one. They clearly didn't, and were able to make some big time shots and make a game out of it in quarters overtime. You would told me that game was going to overtime at halftime, I'd have been like, are we watching the same game?
It was unreal. I remember, so shout out to associate head coach Jalen Reyes. We were doing his show, and of course I had the game up there, and Jalen Reyes was just bewildered because he kept seeing me frown, and then my eyes would light up with excitement. And then if we'd get to break, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. This game's looking rough. We're down by 22 points right now. And then in the final segment, my eyes light up again. And he turned around and was like, we're going to overtime. This game made no sense. It was hard to keep up with. It was the cardiac game of the year, I think, in just about any of college basketball sports. Definitely so far the best game to watch, unless you really dislike bad free throw shooting, because that was a pattern for both teams, like we stated yesterday and again tonight. But yeah, I mean, it was unreal. I don't remember watching a game like that in anything where it's been so volatile back and forth, because it was just Purdue's shot making in the second half just completely vanished, and despite having all the second chance points. But same thing for Nebraska's offense, really started getting going, but then they couldn't finish on the free throw line. I don't know. It was a bizarre game, but at the same time, that's where I credit Nebraska's defense, where it's not all Purdue's offense went ice cold. There was some good in there where Nebraska's defense, again, they do the things they always do: take away baseline, leave the shot of the three. That's the one we're going to give you, but it's not a red carpet. We're still going to go out there and contest it because it's a good job. Linzer gets those guys scrambling and communicating well. So it was a little bit of both. They went cold, but it was also Nebraska's defense kind of pushed him in that direction.
So it's all take a nice deep breath. Let that one go by.
Mhm.
Everybody, a Husker Nation, take a deep breath here at 11:15 on a Wednesday night. Okay, got that out of our system. And now you move on to Saturday against Northwestern. Noon tip, Big Ten Network. Post game will be here 2:00, around 2:00.
Yep.
Northwestern tonight, you look at them. They were up double digits on number 2 Michigan. Hung around.
Who's at home?
At Northwestern.
Okay.
They're up on them. Martinelli, 18 points. He was shut down. Shut down in the second half. Played 39 minutes and was shut down by Michigan. The Wolverines scrap out an 87-75 victory over the Wildcats. It was 44-35 at halftime. And Michigan, like clockwork, flipped the script. They've done that a couple times this year.
Did Martinelli have 18 in the first half?
Correct. He got completely shut down by the Wolverines.
That's tough.
And he's one of the best scorers in the Big Ten. Team's not amazing. They're 10-15 now, 2-12 in Big Ten play, near the bunker of the conference, but they have one of the most prolific scorers in the conference. And for a guy who's going to pretty much need to score at will, Michigan knew what they were doing in the second half, were able to adjust and erase a double-digit deficit in the second half. Jaden Reed led Northwestern with 20, but Northwestern, you look at their schedule now, I feel like I'm living in deja vu right now, because when Nebraska played Northwestern a couple weeks ago, Northwestern was on a 4-game skid. Fast forward February 14th, when this game's taking place on Saturday, Northwestern now is on a 4-game skid. I feel like we're living in a simulation right now. They beat Penn State after, they beat USC, lose to UCLA, beat Penn State. They've lost to Washington by 6, got beat by 40 against Illinois. That was when Illinois could do no wrong.
Was that where Wagler
hit at the 3/4 court shot? And, like I said, could do no wrong. Then you had Iowa. They lose by 6. Then they blow the double-digit lead at half and lose by 12 to Michigan. So it's kind of the same story. Nebraska was undefeated at that time, but now Nebraska is just looking to kind of weather the storm after losing 3 of the last 4. And then Northwestern just trying to get a win, but Northwestern has to come to Lincoln now. And it's crazy how that works. I think it's very similar to the last game, essentially. Nebraska didn't have any loss at the time, but I feel like it's very similar. Just get back in the groove, kind of like Rutgers last weekend. Get back in the groove, get back in the win column, and on to the next one. Because, like we said last night, there are no ranked teams currently on the schedule. The AP poll comes out on Monday. Who knows what happens then, but USC, Iowa twice, and UCLA are still tough teams, and it's the Big Ten Conference. As we see here, Northwestern challenging Michigan any given night. And we've seen the last couple nights in college basketball, any given night is kind of the mantra right now in early February.
Well, yeah, a lot of these teams, too, are really playing not desperate, but with a real sense of purpose, knowing the clock's ticking and they only got so many games left to either get inside that bubble or push themselves further up there in the seeding. And when you look at this Northwestern team, that Michigan game is kind of similar to ours in some ways. I mean, Martinelli was a big problem for us very early in that game and the majority of that first half. And then slowly as the game went on, Nebraska kept extending itself. But they figured out ways to, A, keep Martinelli off the glass, and B, have really good help around him. So he can't necessarily get to his spots on the court. And it sounds like Michigan did the same thing there. With Nebraska's defense, I think they should be all right covering Martinelli, but he's such a good player. And to your point, you just can't take teams lightly in the Big Ten, even versus Rutgers in Piscataway. There were some moments where I thought Rutgers could have made a push to fight back, but they're having some turnover woes. And it was a younger team, so you can see that inexperience showing a little bit there. But Rutgers was by no means just completely outclassed by Nebraska basketball. Nebraska was the better team, but Rutgers shot themselves in the foot a bunch of times. You catch a team who's disciplined, who's playing the right way. It's the Big Ten. Some of these games can be really close battles before you know it.
Well, you don't have to wait till Saturday to watch Husker basketball. Nebraska will be in action tomorrow night in Minnesota, 7:00 Central tip-off on the Big Ten Network. Nebraska women are just searching for a victory right now. They dropped UCLA January 11th. UCLA, one of the best teams in women, one of the going to probably be a shoe-in for a 1 seed at this point. Lose to Michigan State, Nicholson. Lose to Wisconsin, Nicholson. Get back in the win column against Illinois, Northwestern, then lose to Ohio State. Lose to Michigan and lose to Maryland this past Saturday. just looking 0-7 against top 25 teams. Just got to get wins to build your resume as March is coming in a couple of weeks. But you're running into a red hot Minnesota team. After they lost games to UCLA and Washington, they beat Oregon, Wisconsin, Penn State, Purdue, beat Iowa, and they've won 6 straight games coming into tomorrow night. And those were 2 road wins over number 10 Iowa and then Rutgers by 11 in Piscataway. And Minnesota's a team, 16-6, 5th in the conference. So it's another quality game for Nebraska women's basketball. Just have to find a way to finish. That's kind of been the moral of the story the past couple of weeks.
Are we talking football?
It sounds very.
Sounds like the 0-7 versus top. No, obviously it's not historically been as bad, but no, you're absolutely right. They have to find a way to finish some of those games, and sometimes they've just been outclassed. Like you mentioned, UCLA, very, very good program. They've been dominant throughout the course of this season, but there's been other opportunities, and especially when they're at home, you got to figure out ways to protect that home court. And the men's team isn't totally in that ballpark as well, where they got to do a better job if they want to be, in that conversation for a 1-2 seed to take care of business at home. But when you have 7 straight and whether it's on the road or at home, you're unable to close these games out. They got to figure out some offense. They've moved some pieces. We talked about Hargrove before. Britt Prince is good, but you've seen defenses really latch onto her. And if she's ineffective, it feels like the team stalls out. Obviously, you want Potts back in the lineup, but you knew that was going to be something you had to work around early on. So, they got to find answers. I'm not sure where the answers lie, if they got to look in the bench or if some of these players that, maybe aren't getting a ton of minutes, if they look down in there, but it's just, I don't know. What do you see in this team as they're consistently just kind of falling short versus these better opponents, but they're not bad, right? Like they're taking care of business for the most part against the non-ranked opponents.
It's just, play 3 quarters, then 1 quarter just gets out of control, and that's what kind of has been the Achilles heel. Let's look at the stats from the Maryland game. Britt Prince, 31 minutes, only scores 7 points, 2 of 6 shooting, no 3-point shots. Jessica Petrie, 19 minutes, 7 points, 50% from the floor. Amaya Hargrove, who has come on and is joined the starting lineup, 28 minutes, only 5 points, 2 of 6, no threes, 1 rebound. Logan Nisley had the lead of scoring. 22 of the 60 came from 1 player. And against the quality teams, the well-coached teams, Maryland's one of them.
Yep.
They knew how to counteract Nebraska and were able to adjust and make sure, hey, we have to zone in on X, Y, and Z, these players. And they were able to do that throughout. And Nebraska hung around with them. They were only down 4. And then the second quarter is the one you really circle. Maryland scores 30 of the 78 points in that 1 quarter to Nebraska's 17. And that just builds up that lead. And from then on, the Terrapins led. And they left Lincoln with a win. So it's just a matter of just putting it all together, not letting 1 quarter decide your game.
Yeah, you can't let those runs happen. They're brutal. Jay Foreman, I know he talks about this all the time, and it applies to football and basketball. He'll tell you both. But, in basketball, those last few minutes heading into halftime and those first few minutes, we'll say the first 5 minutes coming back out of halftime and the last 5 going into halftime, those are big moments. And you can't, if you're at home or on the road, you don't want to give that other team a run, an opportunity, because they can go into the locker room with a lot of momentum, and vice versa. You got to put your foot down once that second half opens to kind of start getting into that rhythm and trying to get back into it. Unfortunately, for the women's team, a lot of these games, it's just that. They're not playing a 4 quarters, like you said, worth of bad basketball. It's every now and then their defense just kind of falls apart and they allow these teams to go on really big runs, and then they can chip away at it. But at that point, it's too late.
Before we go to break, we're going to talk about Nebraska softball. They are in action tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock on ESPN2, playing number 12 LSU. That's not the only game that's marquee from them this weekend. A 3-2 overall start to this season, but you look at the quality opponents: Texas, Washington, and then handle business with UTSA. Split the series basically with Washington and Texas this past weekend in San Antonio. Go down the Clearwater Invitational. There are double-digit top 25 teams competing in this tournament. This is the marquee women's softball tournament. And you look at Nebraska's schedule. LSU, they're ranked. Georgia, number 20. Those are both tomorrow. The second one you can catch at 3 o'clock on ESPN Plus.
Is that 11 a.m. for the first one?
9 a.m. So you can get your
I
you can
think
get your nice little coffee. You can listen to early break, and right after early break's over, you can tune into some Husker softball. So I think that sounds like a solid way to spend a Thursday.
And have Buck and the drive on.
The
on
drive,
side.
exactly. Yeah. So you have a whole fix right there. And then Friday comes around, 11 a.m. at number 3 Tennessee. That's another fun. These are marquee games. Run into SEC gauntlet right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then only one game on Friday. They'll play one game on Saturday against Central Florida. Rematch of the schools who competed in the college basketball crown. Not it's softball though, but the college basketball crown schools. if people remember,
we do,
yes. And then Sunday at 5:00 on ESPN, Texas Tech, the runners up from last year's Women's College World Series, who are ranked number 1 right now. Nebraska get another crack at another number 1 playing Nebraska, and that's another interesting matchup. So I just want to hear what your thoughts just on this 4-day stretch down in Clearwater.
Must-watch TV.
I agree.
I mean, this is like you get a preview of the World Series.
Or
potentially.
Or a regional or super regional.
Potentially, right? Like some of these teams are going to fall out, but you're getting a preview of teams that are most likely going to be in that national conversation as the season goes along here. And you see that with baseball and softball a lot, but this one's even loaded up more to the teeth than I've seen in previous
you flash
years.
back to last May, Nebraska, Tennessee was a super regional.
Yeah.
That was for a spot in the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City. And Tennessee, in low-scoring games, were able to
just escaped.
They just got into it, and they're a softball school too. So I'm excited for that. 9:00. So set your alarms if you're not a morning person. If you are a breaker, they say the early break. If you are a breaker, you have that following those 3 hours of here on the ticket. So we're going to go to break. Harrison's going to get out of here. We'll go dive into more softball. Also, baseball starting on Friday. There's a lot to go on here in Huskerland. I love it when the winter and the spring sports overlap. It's awesome. There's just so much going on.
And we know the pitchers, too. We'll get to see Ty Horn out there for baseball. It'll be like last year in the Big Ten tournament. He's
for grabbing the Friday night ball. He'll be the one that'll be taking them out on Friday nights.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun. It's a fun time. So we're going to go to break. We'll be right back here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines.
Now boarding.
Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Winter is upon us. Is your home prepared? If your furnace isn't keeping up or you've thought about replacing it, John Henry's has a new year, new unit special. When you purchase a select heating and cooling system from John Henry's, we will give you the furnace for free. There are also equipment and LES rebates up to an additional $850. This offer expires February 28th, so don't miss out. Find out more at jhlincoln.com or give John Henry's a call or text today.
435-5555. Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Rick Heyman here from Sauter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sauterheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Postgame Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Hello, I am Arden Lockheim, host of Arden's Angle from 8 to 9 p.m. on Thursdays. And my favorite part of downtown Lincoln is the Mill. It's the best place to get coffee. I love sitting and studying there. Everyone should go check it out.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
Attention, Nebraska sports fans. Are you ready to take your skills to the next level? The Army National Guard is looking for leaders who are dedicated, driven, and ready to make a difference. Join up and gain invaluable experience while serving your country with a flexible schedule, competitive benefits, and a chance to build a strong future. Learn more at nationalguard.com/Nebraska. Live here, serve here. The Nebraska Army National Guard. Guard the good life.
Just got new tires put on my car today.
You did? I did see you leave the office.
I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off and they were done.
You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service?
That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Hey guys, this is former UFC fighter and mixed martial artist Anthony Lionheart Smith. The Upside Bar and Lounge in South Lincoln is the go-to spot for every UFC event, prelims, and main card. There's never a cover, so make sure you get there early and stay late. Upside Bar and Lounge has daily specials, a margarita club, and a taco club. And don't forget, they just added Buzz Bowls to their menu. Learn more about upcoming events by visiting UpsideBarLNK.com and stop into their South Lincoln location for every UFC event on 27th and Pine Lake.
Back to Late Night in Lincoln live on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Nick Whyman.
Welcome back. Nick Whyman here, 93.7 The Ticket and TicketFM.com. 1040 O Street. Harrison's getting out of here. You can see him in the background. He's doing some housekeeping. As always, we run a really good system here. Dynamic duo, I guess you could say. Some would say. I'm not going to compliment myself because that'd be weird. But thank you, Harrison, stepping in and talking some hoops for the past half hour. But you're rocking with me for one more, a little bit under 30 minutes for two more segments. That is. Let's talk. You and me. We got a lot of things to cover. We just talked about all the hoops going on in the next. Harrison, he was taking out the trash here, and I didn't know what it was. But here we are. Just talked about hoops. Let's do a rundown. What we have left on the schedule. We're going to talk about softball. Obviously, is back in action tomorrow down in Clearwater, Florida, at the Shriners Children's Invitational. Nebraska went 3-2 this past weekend to begin the season, beating top-ranked Texas at the time after a tough 15-10 loss, and then getting starting the season off with a nice win against Washington. Gabby Toney for them, for the Huskies, hit up 2 home runs that game, and Nebraska was able to bounce back. Jesse Farrell, a Nebraska debut from transferring from UNLV, was able to hit a couple home runs that weekend, and the long ball was on Nebraska's side, and they used that to their advantage to get those wins. Before we dive into that, if you want to be part of the conversation, 402-464-5685. If you're listening or watching on Facebook, Twitter's X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, or Allo Channel 961, be a part of the conversation. Just you and me here for another 30 minutes. Going to talk about some softball and baseball. Look ahead to this weekend as softball. We'll start with them. Softball, like I said, 3-2 over the weekend. You look at the record, you see 3-2. Oh, a little bit over 500. But you look at the quality teams they played. Washington, no slouch. A conference team doesn't count against your conference record. They are no slouch of a team. A ranked 25. Have been a really good softball team. Funny enough, that was a Women's College World Series matchup in the early 2010s when Washington was in the Pac-10 at the time. Nebraska played them in Oklahoma City. And now they're in the same conference. Still getting used to conference realignment. But you look ahead to tomorrow. 9 a.m., grab your coffee or whatever you need. Top 15 ranked matchup, Nebraska playing LSU in Clearwater at the Eddie Seymour Complex tomorrow morning. Should be a fun one. LSU, they got to run the SEC gauntlet to start this tournament. You got to look at the teams who are in this tournament. There are so many ranked teams in the top 25 competing in this invitational, the Shriners Children's Clearwater Invitational. And Nebraska gets a crack at so many of them. And you'd rather play that. You'd rather play the best of the best to start the year. Challenge yourself. And Nebraska's doing just that. The 16-team field, in no particular order, these are the teams. You have Duke, Florida Atlantic, Florida State, Georgia, James Madison, LSU, Missouri, NC State, Nebraska, Northwestern, Oklahoma State, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Central Florida, and UCLA. And there's games throughout the entire day. If you are a softball fan, you are locked in. Look at the slate tomorrow. You have Nebraska, LSU kicking it off. Oklahoma State and Georgia at 10 a.m. Florida State, Texas Tech at noon. LSU, Oklahoma State at 2 o'clock. And then Nebraska's back in action against Georgia at 3 o'clock. There's just so much. And then there's a nightcap, Texas Tech, Northwestern. And that's just day one. This is a 4-day tournament down in Clearwater, Florida. And the Sunday, there are some fun games. We'll get into Sunday here in a bit. But you're going to get to see Jordy Fromm and some of the best players in the sport going at it. LSU, and then they're ranked number 12. Play that game at 9 a.m. Do whatever you need to do. And then gear up at 3 o'clock. They're playing Georgia, who's number 20. Another team who's going to be a challenge. SEC softball is really good. You get a crack at two of them on the first day down in Clearwater. First game can be seen on ESPN2 at 9 a.m. First game of the tournament. And then after that, 3 o'clock on ESPN+. Then you go to Friday. A rematch from last season, postseason. Number 3, Tennessee in Clearwater. You look at that game. Nebraska played them super regionals to get into the... What's this guy doing? Oh, okay. See, I told you. He's doing housekeeping. Like I said, doing his thing. But where were we? We're talking about Nebraska softball. Obviously, threw me off my game there. Nebraska softball playing the Vols. Look at last year, Nebraska, Tennessee. They both get through the regionals, get to the super regionals. Nebraska plays Tennessee for a spot in the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City. Nebraska runs into the Vols in a low-scoring pitchers duels kind of games, and the Volunteers get the last laugh and end Nebraska season. Nebraska plays them again. Played that game in May of 2025. In February 2026, they meet again in another. It should be a really good game. That's your Friday, 11 a.m. ESPN2 as well. Should be a fun one in Clearwater. Then you take a nice breath, go into your weekend. Nebraska then plays Central Florida, 12:30, ESPN+. That is the only non-ranked team that Nebraska is playing in Clearwater. Only one. You're playing quality opponents every day, sometimes twice a day. As tomorrow they will. And then you go to Sunday, 5 o'clock, ESPN against number 1 Texas Tech. The runners-up from last year from the Women's College World Series. I mean, if you like softball, this is a must-watch appointment television for Nebraska softball. Even if some of these games end up on the wrong side of them, you're not going to drop very far in the rankings just because of the quality opponents you're playing. LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas Tech. And then UCF's a Big 12 team. You're playing quality teams off the bat. And Texas Tech, hey, another number one. Nebraska already knocked off one number one. Now you get another crack at the Red Raiders. After they beat the Longhorns, who was the number one seed. Lost to them, then came back and beat them. Maybe history repeats itself from a week ago. Who knows? You look at the rest of their schedule. I mean, this is not just an outlier weekend for Nebraska softball as a whole. They got A&M in California next weekend. South Carolina. You go down the schedule. Oklahoma State is in Clearwater. Nebraska is not playing them, but they will get to play them on the 26th. And you look a couple weeks from now, Nebraska's back at home. First week of March 5th. It's going to sneak up really quick. And we'll know a lot about this Nebraska softball team by then because they're playing so many challenging games and so many games that are going to be just ones to watch, especially tomorrow. Tomorrow is, I'm excited. 9 o'clock in the morning. If you're free, get to the television. Nebraska LSU 9 a.m. It should be a good one, and it's awesome that they're actually on network television, not behind a paywall or whatnot. You'll be able to easily access the sport. Not only that game, but a lot of the other games in Clearwater at the Shriners Children's Invitational. Who know what else is going on? Nebraska baseball. Nebraska baseball is a season quickly approaching. Friday, 7 o'clock in Scottsdale, Arizona. They'll be playing the Yukon Huskies, who are one of the marquee teams in the Big East for baseball. So Nebraska, we talk about playing good teams. Nebraska will get that right off the bat. They're playing the MLB Desert Invitational. They're playing a lot of spring training sites. Sloan Park, Talking Stick. And a lot of those parks are, people talk about spring training, the ball, a lot of home runs get hit. Nebraska wants that to be their identity this year, or whatever it's going to be. Could be interesting. It should be exciting because when baseball season goes around, it's always exciting. If you're a baseball fan, you know that feeling of opening day, whether it be the pros, whether it be college, whether it be high school or whatnot. You know the feeling of opening day and what it feels like, the excitement. There's a different feeling for baseball and softball opening day than there is a whole lot of sports. They play a lot of games. They play almost every day. And college, for example, you play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes have a midweek game or two, and then you get back into the Friday, Saturday, Sunday routine. It's just the motions. You go through it, and you get used to the scheduling, and it's exciting. So you got UConn Friday, Saturday, Northeastern, who always is a team who is going to make a regional and put up a fight. They always have. Last couple of years, they've done that. Grand Canyon on Sunday at 6:30, and then Monday to wrap up the MLB Desert Invitational, they'll play Stanford at 2 o'clock. If you want to watch Nebraska baseball on their first weekend, Friday night, they'll be on MLB Network. You can watch that game on there. The rest of the games you can stream live on MLB.com. So, what's a successful weekend for Nebraska softball and Nebraska baseball? I think you're not going to win every game. That's just how baseball and softball work. It is hard to do. You look at the teams Nebraska softball's playing, I mentioned LSU and Georgia tomorrow. Split both those. Hey, you live and you learn. It's a long season. This is just the second weekend of the season. You got Nebraska softball already have teams like Washington and Texas behind them who are ranked or who are going to be ranked going forward throughout the year. And then you go to this weekend, you have LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas A&M, 4 of the 5 teams, and then Central Florida. Who knows what they're going to be? There's a lot of season left, and you're playing so many quality games. This weekend does not define a season. You live and you grow. Control what you can control, the highs and the lows of the season. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Same with Nebraska baseball. Let's say somehow only win one game this weekend. I don't know. Let's just throw it out there. So be it. What's next? What's next on the schedule? There are plenty of opportunities left. There are plenty of games left. Control what you can control. Just manage yourself. Live and learn. And get them next weekend. It's just how baseball and softball work. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Just keep chucking away. We're going to go to break. We're going to cover some notes. Hey, the spring game has a kickoff time here. We'll talk about a little bit about that. USA Hockey, the men's hockey team, is in action tomorrow. NHL players back for the first time since 2014 Sochi games. They're back in their first preliminary round game tomorrow. And then English Premier League, Nottingham Forest, one of the clubs in the Premier League. We'll talk a little bit about their coaching, interesting coaching maneuvers, I will say, they've made this year throughout the 2025-2026 campaign. We'll be back. Late Night Lincoln, Nick Whyman, here on 93.7 and ticketfm.com.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at HamiltonIsBusiness.com.
At Jimmy John's, we don't make sandwiches. We make the sandwich of sandwiches. We use fresh veggies because we don't hate salads. We just feel bad for them. We make our sandwiches exactly how you want because you're the one who's eating it. And we bake bread all day, every day because stale bread isn't bread. It's croutons. Sandwich history is written by the victors. Good thing we have legible handwriting. Jimmy John's, the sandwich of sandwiches. Order pickup or delivery on the app.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's hard to choose a favorite at Hog Wild, but I'd have to say it's their award-winning ribs. Hog Wild buys their meat from those who share their high-quality standards, then hand rubs each slab with their famous seasoning blend and slow smokes them over hickory each and every day for flavor and tenderness you're gonna keep coming back for. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
At DWE Generations, having a plan matters, especially when it comes to protecting what's most important. They work with individuals, families, and business owners to help make smart financial decisions that support life today and set the foundation for generations. David Darlington, Russell Walton, and Cody Eiler bring decades of experience, and their dedicated team provides follow-through, answering questions, explaining next steps, and staying connected as life evolves. DWE Generations, a generational wealth planning firm. DWE Generations is a marketing name for individuals doing business as representatives of Northwestern Mutual. Visit generations.nm.com or call 402-483-7871 and ask for David, Russell, or Cody. Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Hi, I'm Scott Miller, Business Development Officer at Midwest Bank's Lincoln branches. As a lifelong Lincolnite with over 30 years of experience in financial management, I'm here to help your business grow and succeed. My focus is building strong relationships with businesses and clients across Lincoln. Because at Midwest Bank, we believe banking is about people, not just numbers. Visit us at midwest.bank or stop by one of our Lincoln locations. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Want to make the easy call? Call John Henry's. From leaky pipes to a broken AC, flickering lights to furnace fights, even drains and duct cleaning, we've got it handled. Plumbing, heating, air, and electrical, all under one trusted roof. Proudly serving homes across Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas, and ready 24/7. Visit calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
and electrical.
At Raising Cane's, we focus on making the most craveable chicken finger meals, getting them right every time. That's why we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, Butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, salt every fry, squeeze every lemon, and brew every ounce. We do this inside every Raising Cane's, every day. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Back to Late Night in Lincoln live on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Nick Whyman.
Welcome back. Late Night in Lincoln with Nick Whyman, 93.7 The Ticket, and ticketfm.com. Thank you for joining in for this final couple of minutes of your Wednesday evening. If you're watching on Facebook, X, YouTube, or Allo Channel 961, truly appreciate you. 402-464-5665, the Star Heyman Jewelers text line. We got a couple more minutes. We're going to go through some news and notes around the sports world. So, sticking here in the capital city, Nebraska announced a kickoff time for the spring game. It'll be Saturday, March 28th, 11 a.m. kickoff time at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. Format changed last year. They played the Husker games. They didn't play a game this year. The spring game returns to its normal format, 11 a.m. It'll also coincide with the Elite Eight in NCAA. We'll see if Nebraska can make it there. It's not a guarantee. March Madness is a weird sport where Cinderella can take a spot that far. You got to come to play when it comes around there. So there's no guarantee with that, but Nebraska keeps playing like they have. Sky's the limit. Looking at else around the sports world, let's go to overseas to the Winter Olympics. USA men's hockey plays tomorrow. First game in the 2026 Winter Olympics for them. They got Latvia tomorrow. That game will be at 2 o'clock Central Time. First time since 2014 in Sochi that the NHL players are allowed to play in the Olympics, so that should be exciting. The USA women's team finished preliminary round with a very dominant win over Canada. Canada hasn't been beat like that really ever. They're a really good team. Hillary Knight, Layla Edwards, a lot of really good players on the team. Been fun to watch to see them throughout the Olympics so far. I'll leave you with this tonight. So, English Premier League soccer. It's a sport where there's 20 clubs. The bottom 3 teams get relegated and sent down to the next division, and the top 3 in that other division gets to rise up. Nottingham Forest is one of those clubs. Let's look at their coachings throughout the year. Nuno Espirito Santo started December 2023 to September 2025. They sacked him just a month into the season, a little under a month into the season. Ange, I got to pronounce this name right. I wrote it down. Ange Postecoglou stepped in as the manager from September 2025. They let him go 39 days later. Sean Dyche, who is the most recent manager, as of October 25, they let him go today. 114 days as the manager of Nottingham Forest. Sacked him. So they're now looking for their 4th manager this season in the Premier League. Dyche had 6 wins, 8 losses, and 4 draws during those little over 110 days as the manager for Nottingham Forest. Right now, they sit 17th in the league, so they are just on the brink of staying, not getting relegated, staying in the Premier League next year. There are 20 clubs in the league. The bottom 18, 19, 20 get relegated. They're sitting 17 right now as we speak. They're going to make some history, though. Despite the season they're having, they are going to make some history despite this. Not some good history, though. They are going to be the first English Premier League club to have 4 permanent managers in one single season. So we talk about coaching changes and everything. Imagine having 4 different coaches in a span of one season. I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how you can create a winning culture that way, but Nottingham Forest is going to have to figure it out. I'm curious to watch them as the season progresses. The season ends in May, so there is still time to make up ground. But they've gone through 3 different managers since September of 2025, which is the season starts in late August, early September. Santo, Postecoglou, Dyche, and now another coach. That's your soccer fix I'm going to leave you with for the evening. So imagine that. So that is all I have for you tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night. We'll talk some women's basketball as they wrap up their game against Minnesota. We'll talk about Nebraska softball, obviously, as they play 2 games tomorrow, and preview Nebraska baseball as they will be less than 24 hours as of tomorrow night before their season begins. So remember, early break, 6 o'clock. A lot of the really good shows. Stick with us here on 90.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com. Nick Whyman signing off. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Texters. Thank you, Harrison. You guys are the real MVPs. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for all stopping by. Enjoy your Wednesday evening.